What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. So we're going to check out my boy Mediocre Toyos and Reviews video on Jada Pinkett Smith. Now, if those of you who don't know about the whole situation with Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith and their whole debacle of marriage problems, well, apparently Jada, she pretty much shows no signs of remorse when it comes to cheating and taking accountability for her actions. And I think that's a problem with, today's society, where when somebody does wrong, nobody is holding that one person accountable for their issues. So what we're going to do is we're going to check out his review, his reaction, and I'm going to pause the video and give you my thoughts like I've always done. So we're not going to waste any time chatting about this whole thing, because I want to get to the point.
If you love me, you should know. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. If you love me,
you should be able to read
you should read my mind.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to stop right here. If you love me, let me know. What makes you think I want to love you after you went out and do the unthinkable? Really?
You know what
that's
I mean?
a huge
That's
Man, this is some other BS. And this is why I do not want to get married, because this is the problem.
All right, guys, you're looking at the thumbnail, you're looking at the title of the video, y'all.
Yeah, shout out to this brother right here.
You know what time it is? It is time to get active. Guys, this is a much needed conversation that we have to go into. And really what it's about the fall of your idols from grace. And what does it mean? Okay? Because let me be frank, let me be honest. Pre-entanglement, Will Smith. That's my boy. All right? I still love Will Smith. Okay?
So do I.
I still admire his rise, right? His poise, his grace, the things that he's been able to accomplish. I think it was like 10 #1 movies in a row when he was at his movie peak, his movie pinnacle.
Oh, yeah.
Triple threat in every sense, meaning of the word.
And one of my favorite movies from this guy was The Wild Wild West, even though it had a lot of bad reviews, but I find it entertaining. The Men in Black franchise, the first two. No, actually, the first one is what I was a huge fan of. And I think he made some good movies. I wasn't a fan of Hitch. In my opinion, that was not a good movie out of him, even though I wasn't a fan of it. But there are some good films that he actually made. And he's made some pretty decent music as well. So, yeah, there's that.
Word. Incredibly talented. Incredibly gifted. But taken down by a woman. Jada, Jesus Christ. All right? I take a look at situations like this and I'm just like, oh my God. Like, without having content like this in the space, there'd be so many that end up in this type of situation where there is a constant reminder of the decision to have picked that one that seems to have created a reality for themselves that has nothing whatsoever to do with the blue pill reality or fantasy that was led with. Specifically from
before we get into this video, I just got word that Mark Zuckerberg announces Facebook will now be known as Meta. As if you couldn't get any worse on social media. And to me, I think this is cash grab when you think about it. But it's still going to be Facebook regardless. So just want to put that out there.
Will, because if you hear Will talk about what it is that he was getting himself into, it sounded like he was blue pill as all hell, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, rose-colored glasses, didn't understand the potential of what could happen. And Jada was like, "Yeah, I kind of know."
I am about to meet my first biological relative. My mom used to live here a long time ago.
I don't want to do this. I don't want to get married. But so often, so many young dudes interpret situations like that and say, "I just must convince her. I just must figure this out. I want family so bad because that's what Disney tells me that I should want. Disney tells me that I am not accomplished until I get married." And then years later, and all of this post-entanglement news comes out, and it's just like me, as someone who's just watching situations like this and trying to pick out different pieces to different situations so I can learn more, right? And put it into my toolkit to lead in my life with making better steps than I've ever made before. Looking at this like this is some straight bullshit. Anyway, Jada was recently, again, talking about her sex life with Will Smith. Now, in all honesty,
What's just something that you shouldn't do when you're a public figure? Now, if I was in a relationship, I would not be talking about my sex life for the whole world to see and hear. I would rather just keep that private. Because if you want to do all that, go do that on TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. For me, I would never do that. My private life stays private. And I like to keep it that way. And if you are willing to understand that, then you're the problem.
so Jada had the entanglement shit and came out and started talking about the August Alsina situation.
August Alsina, almost forgot his
Flip
name.
that situation and have Will talk about a 17-year-old mentally depressed young lady that, he ended up drilling, right? It would have been a much different story, but I digress. Let's get off of that. But Will has admitted that they had an open relationship, and Will was also doing his thug dizzle as well. Irrespective. I think that as I looked at the mentions in the GQ article and I play back that whole entanglement shit, it just seems like this is a situation that Will was inevitably left in. So he decided to have an open marriage. That's my interpretation. If you think of it as any other interpretation, then leave it down below. Nevertheless, I'm going to play this video right here because the things that I heard in this video was just unbelievable. Well, let's get active. Without further ado,
Jada Pinkett Smith gets surprisingly candid again about her relationship with Will Smith.
Here we
this
go.
Time opening up to Gwyneth Paltrow about why it's hard to maintain a sex life with her husband. Some subjects are not safe for work, but if you're at the Red Table, nothing is off limits. And when Gwyneth stops by Red Table Talk to chat about her Netflix series Sex, Love, and Goop, she, Jada, and Gammy get really real. About Demi?
Yeah, almost to the point where nothing makes sense coming from these hypocritical lovers or lovebirds. These type of shows on Netflix, I don't think I wouldn't want to go on there to talk about my problems. So the whole world can judge me and make fun of me and create memes of me. That's the last thing I want to do. But ain't nothing you can do. You can't tell them nothing. If they want to do that, so be it. Okay, why is this daggone thing frozen like this? Oh man, this is awkward. Oh God. Hold on, y'all. Let me fix this.
Busy, especially Will's wife.
Wait a second, not mine. It went back. I don't know what was that about.
listen to this bullshit.
About navigating the communication gaps in her relationship, well, on the table.
It's hard. I know.
I'm sure.
The thing that Will and I talk about a lot is the journey. I mean, we started in this at a very young age, 22 years old.
It's crazy.
That's why the accountability part really hit for me because I think you expect your partner to know, especially when it comes to sex.
Right.
It's like,
What?
if you love me, you should know.
Right.
What?
You know what I mean? If you love me,
You should be able to read
you
my
should
mind.
read my mind.
Bull crap. Read your mind telling you that I love you after you went out and cheated on me. You might as well just stay out there. Because when you're in a marriage, in a committed relationship, I think you need to stick by your stigma and please make sure that you meant when you say telling your partner that if you love me, let me know. What for? When you went out and did the unthinkable, you want me to do all that while having sex with you? What are you? What?
Yeah.
You know what
that's
I mean?
a huge
That's a
pitfall.
huge pitfall.
Yeah, it is.
Jesus Christ, bro. I know.
I'm so happy for the internet.
Yeah.
I'm so happy platforms like this exist. Because before, conversations like this of like, you know what I'm saying, going into the barbershop and just like we do in the barbershop, we have our conversations, you know what I'm saying? And you have the married guys, you know, and they interject and they points. And the interesting shit is that the married guys are not right, like, they're never really like, man, you need to get married. I'm sure like the hair salons on the other side.
Yeah, if somebody tells me, you know, man, I think you need to get married, I tell them no. Because if I had a girlfriend, we talk about marriage in 5 years, I would tell her no. Because one, I don't want to end up in the same situation with every other divorced parent or any other situation they're going through. And then the kid's going to feel like it's their fault that it happened. No, I don't want to put myself in that situation if I were to get married. Because marriage takes a lot of work, commitment, paperwork, and everything. And plus, you got to have a prenup and everything. Having an open marriage is not good as well. That's even worse. Because if you have an open marriage, that means that you're allowing yourself to cheat on your spouse while you're married. And then you come back and have sex with each other. That's not cool. That really is something that I do not like. I cannot let fly. So if I had a girlfriend, we talking about marriage, I told her that can we talk about something else besides marriage? Because I don't want to do it. Because if you try to force me to marry you, I'll break up with you. I'm sorry. Because you're not going to force me to put a ring on your finger because you want marriage. When you know that, and I'm telling you that I'm not married, you know, that I'm not ready for marriage, at least have the decency to understand that where I'm coming from. So at the end of the day, right is right and wrong is wrong.
That's probably like the topic of conversation, I guess. I don't know. I've never been in one. Nevertheless, you never really hear the married guys like, man, you gotta do it. It means so much. You always hear like, yo, man, how
Yeah, and those who do that are simps. Just to let y'all know.
your marriage going? That's usually what they right, like in a couple of years, you know what I'm saying? They talking about a divorce or what have you. But that's generally where the conversation goes. And you begin to hear these stories and you're just like, what? But then the internet came, and with the internet came public platforms where we can take what happens in a hair.
I thought you said you were serious about going on TikTok. Then how come you haven't gotten into my free TikTok growth course yet? You heard that right. It's 100% free, but I'm going to be changing
Urusula.
Hold on, y'all. Let me do something right quick. Let me see something. All right, back to the video. I got to do something right quick.
On and get and look at, be a fly on the wall and look at these echo chambers. Okay? What did she say? If you love me, you should be able to read my mind.
Yeah, that really,
What?
yeah.
What? Absurd, Jada. That's absurd.
It is.
It
really is.
absurd. Now, context matters here. She was talking about sex, but what I found also so interesting is that she brought up the word accountability within that as well. And I'm just like, well, an accountable person.
You know, which is something that we normally see out of women taking accountability for their actions. It's always the men taking accountability for our actions. For our actions when we ended up making mistakes in our relationships, you know, in relationships in general. And I just don't understand how come there's no double standards in situation. It goes both ways. Men taking, men taking accountability, women taking accountability. Boyfriend and girlfriends are taking accountabilities. It goes both ways. Both ways.
Person would not expect to be in a relationship with a mind reader. And this right here is one of the largest issues that guys have is she says one thing to you, but she actually means another. Okay.
Yeah.
She withholds information, but she expects you to know what she's talking about.
Exactly.
Or thinking. Like, help me out here. Like,
bro, you're just as confused as I am.
Help me out here. All right. And the thing is like, there's so many dudes that look at content like this and they're like, this is what we've been telling y'all. But it's so crazy too, because when you have conversations with young ladies, like in your own relationship, right? And let's say there's not a therapist.
And this is the reason why I'm still single, because of things like this. And the number one thing I fear the most is when my girlfriend starts to treat me differently after everything I've done for her. You know, when her family and my family get along, we should be able to get along in a relationship. Even though we have disagreements, we still should like each other at the end of the day. So if she starts to push me away because of insecurity issues that she has, because in that little brain of hers, it's not matured and doesn't know exactly what she wants, and when a guy knows what he wants, she's going to probably think otherwise. Then she'll probably leave me for a douchebag who thinks he's better than anybody. And then she's going to end up being hurt again. And then she's going to end up crawling back to me and thinking that I'm going to take her back after the way she did me. So for me, I'd rather just stay single until I wait for that person to come to me instead of just chasing hoes, which is something I never done.
Involved, right? Like, let's say you never made it there, which most of us have not, you know, from like a relationship therapy perspective. And you have these one-on-one conversations, and like, right, like me and my dudes, we just like, yo, I can't be bugging. Like, I know I'm coming across as, I'm trying to be as logical and methodical as what I goddamn can. But it seems as though I'm just hit with pure and utter bullshit. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, let me cap off the conversation and call this out as well. Okay?
Don't we all?
I think that the new wave, right? Like, so if you would have asked me, okay, what would it take, MDR? Like, what would it take for you to look at marriage a little bit differently? Here's what it is, okay? I'm going to be honest. I'm going to keep it candid with you guys. I think that there has to be an incredible wave or change that we see en masse where, number one, you get into these type of conversations and you see full and utter accountability, right? You get into these conversations, and if you have dialogue between men and women, there's not the disrespect hurled across the table. I think there needs to be a fundamental shift in aggregate when you're looking at these different podcasts and things like that happening, a fundamental shift of way more logic, right? I think like dudes now more than often, especially with the information that's available now, are looking at the pros and the cons of this contract, right?
For real.
What it is that they're signing up for, and as well as many people that are exiting and what can happen in those situations if an exit occurs. They're also looking at things such as, sexless marriages, and as well as, which this particular video talks about, because she's speaking about reading.
And you know what? I think this is another point I want to bring up as well. You look at the years of Will and Jada throughout the years in Hollywood, in the spotlight, they want to put an image to your relationship as this world's perfect couple. Go on the beaches, have these sexiest bodies, and making love on videos or whatever, just to show the world that marriage is awesome and perfect. But we all know that that's never the case. Each time when there's a newlywed couple in Hollywood, be expected to be something that is not perfect in a marriage. Because 95% of the marriage and divorces are from reality TV. And it's obvious to me that Will and Jada, we all knew this marriage was not perfect from the start because of their open marriage. But I feel like, Jada, she did the worst. And what she said in that video made me question, what's the point of y'all being in a marriage if you are going around doing this?
Mind from a sexual perspective. But when you have dudes like now today, where so many other options than marriage is available, that other dudes are like, listen, I live life like this without marriage, and this is a very happy existence. In order to shift the tide, there has to be a fundamental shift in like all of these different things that I am calling out. And I think until you can have these conversations en masse, and there's a fundamental shift en masse, like a lot more femininity content creators.
SquareSpace lets you run your brand like a business with e-commerce.
Creators that are speaking about these different things and holding them accountable, just like we hold dudes accountable over here. Okay? Y'all hold them accountable over there.
Exactly.
And then maybe one day we can all meet up and it'll be a lot better. Anyway, there's some more in this video. Let's see what else they have to say.
You definitely spoke on a lot of points.
Definitely understands and follows up with a very relatable take that hits
What'd you say,
right
Gwyneth?
in the feels.
It's like someone doesn't read your mind and we feel crushed. Like we feel
Well, so if we're having sex, if we're not reading your mind, you feel crushed? Or maybe, just maybe, it's because of your ways. Because based on what I'm seeing, you're making this as if you made sex boring. If that was the case, why get married in the first place? Why have kids in the first place if you claim that the sex that y'all have were boring? This doesn't make any sense.
Disappointed. Where do we? Thanks for watching E! News. Have thoughts on the story?
Okay. All right.
Yeah, get away from this video, bro.
I'm sorry I didn't read your mind. As a human being, we haven't reached that stage of telekinesis or whatever, or mind reading, right? Psychopathic abilities to mind men.
And what exactly did she mean that we didn't read their minds? So if I'm banging you all the time, if I'm reading your minds, that means I'm thinking of something very dirty in the bedroom. That's what couples do. So the fact that you want to say that we're not reading your minds, that means that you're crushed, we're making sex boring. You play a role in this too. You're my wife. So how are you saying that sex is boring when you're the ones okay, you know what? What I'm trying to say is that since you're the one that's in the room with me, butt naked, doing the dirty in the bedroom with me. So if I'm making sex boring, you're the one that's making sex boring as well. It goes both ways. Y'all see what I'm trying to get out here? So all of that, what she's saying, you're making it seem like we're not good lovers. That tells us everything we need to know about y'all. Modern women nonsense.
And understand at any given moment, and I'm so sorry that you feel crushed that my human biology hasn't reached that apex of evolution. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm so sorry. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, guys, that's why I think I'm gonna end this video here today. I just wanted to kind of rant for a little bit, but these are the examples that we look at. We look at these examples intently. We look at these examples intently. We're like, well, hold on. You saying, right? Like, you know, you set this up, like this equation up of, okay, you go into it, rose-colored glasses, and you leave out of it, and there was an entanglement. And, right? Like, if I was to ask Will, right? Like, if I had the opportunity to talk to Will Smith, here's what I would ask him, straight up. Will, would you do it like this again? Take the kids out of it. Okay? Would you have chosen to get married that early or married at all, looking back at your life? Take the kids.
My bad, y'all. It's this daggone RCN internet and the Fire Stick. I can't stand these people though. Every time you try to watch TV on YouTube or regular TV, keeps buffering, and that's exactly what this Chromebook is doing. So getting back into this content. So we're gonna take a look at the chat for a few minutes. We got Demetrius Morris. Will Smith is still the GOAT. Not one bad movie at all from him. Well, except one or two. I agree, man. I agree. I feel the same way as well. So we got CFC. Okay, let me take the time to pronounce your name. CFC Somali. Oh, Somalito. CFC Somalito. Female nature. Exactly. So we're going to take a look at some more chats before I end the stream, because this is really interesting. And CATs also says, yo, you can give a woman 5 children and a big house and everything, but if a gardener F's the S out of her, then she leaves you for him. And that's exactly my point. Because even if you're married for years and if she feels unsatisfied, at least you could have just talked to him about it and let him know what's going on with their in the relationship, in their sex life. Instead of you just like going around cheating on him with, you know, the gardener or the lifeguard, whatever, instead of just telling him man to man, you know, in person or face to face. At least you could do is talk about it. Demetria says, F her. You know, she wasted time at this point. Should have married Tupac before he got here. Hey, Dimitri, you terrible, bro. Why you gonna bring Tupac into this? I mean, let's be real here. Tupac and Jada had a relationship at one point, but I don't think they dated in real life, though. I guess it was more of a buddy friendship type of relationship they had before he was murdered. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Tupac was still alive today. She would have probably smashed him right now, making on them hit records and all that. And then his kids are going to end up coming out rapping like he does. Yeah, man, let me stop. It's just crazy, man. All right, so I think that's going to do it for this video. I appreciate y'all for coming out, checking out this video with me as always. And if y'all enjoyed this video and my reaction to my boy Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews, let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you in my next content. Peace out.